Hello everybody, Vesper here, and I'm here with Killy, and we're going to talk about the Canada Cup Master Series this weekend, which is coming up really soon. How's it going, Killy?
Not too bad.
So, what is this tournament about?
Basically, the tournament is a round robin between all of the former Canada Cup champions, as well as a few invited players based on their performances in the past.
It's pretty much a bunch of the returning champions from all the Canada Cup tournaments, right?
Yeah.
And for the past, like, what is it, like 5 years?
Something like that.
Yeah. And then there's some special guests too. I think
Luffy and Snake Eyes.
Luffy's a special guest. Snake Eyes special guest. And the grand prize is pretty huge. First place prize is $10,000. And then second place is $4,000. And yeah, it's just a huge pot, 20K pot.
So, does all of top 8 get paid out?
Yeah, 7th and 8th get 500.
So all players get paid out. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, actually I just realized that just now, so that's pretty cool. And basically, the first thing we should get out of the way right off the bat is that it's going to be a pay-per-view event.
Yes.
So, but only for Saturday and Sunday. So it's a 3-day event.
Yeah.
And on Friday, it's free. So anyone can watch the stream. But I think on Saturday and Sunday, you have to pay a fee.
Yeah, so basically they're giving you a preview of the production value or quality on Friday, so you can determine whether you want to purchase the stream for Saturday and Sunday.
Are they gonna show any of the 8 players though on Friday?
No, they won't do any of the matches, like the round robin matches, until Saturday, because that's the 8th player won't get determined until Friday.
That makes sense. So it's the qualifier round basically for Friday.
Yeah, and there's a couple other tournaments that's happening. I believe Guilty Gear is also being run on Friday.
So Saturday will basically be the first day of the main event.
Correct.
And,
so basically Saturday and Sunday are strictly dedicated to the round robin. I don't think there's any other games being played or streamed during those 2 days.
And the fee is $14.95.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't really want to talk about the controversy that much.
No, there's no point.
But I think that's been like done to death already. But basically this is like Topanga event, because Topanga has always been like a pay-per-view event.
Yes.
But we don't really have pay-per-view events like in North America, so this will be one of the first ones. But yeah, like, if you guys are thinking whether this is worth the money or not, just keep in mind that it is a 1st to 7 format, and it's a round robin on top of that. So you're literally going to be watching over 100 matches of these top 8 players here. So I guess keep that in mind if you want to, like, honestly, like, if you just with a group of friends or something, you guys could all pitch in like, you know, $2-3 each, and you should be golden for the weekend. But yeah. So what do you think about the round robin format, Killy? Like, what do you think about the purpose of it, and is it necessary for this kind of tournament?
So the tournament is basically sort of an emulation of the Topanga series, which has always been a round robin with notable players. So now we have 8 well-known players. Like, these are all top players here from around the world, and you're putting them in a round robin format. So it's going to be extremely entertaining because the level of play is going to be really high. And just, we've never seen this kind of format done with these type of players before. Like, we've seen it within Topanga, but now we're talking about like around the world. So that will be really interesting.
The thing is, in case you guys don't know what round robin is, it's when every player plays every player. And the reason why you don't see it too often is because it just takes so much time to do. It's a very, like, you know, it takes forever. And even with 8 players, it takes forever. But that's why it's a 2-day, like, or 3-day event, right, total. But Anyways, I really like the round robin format because you know, usually when you're in a tournament, you're always anticipating what if this player plays who. I hope this guy plays this guy, and in a round robin, you're guaranteed to see at least a matchup with every player playing every player. So that's really interesting.
Also, it's like the format itself for the 7 and round robin. You'll definitely get to see like who is definitely the best player. There's very little chance of variance or randomness to happen in that kind of format.
Yeah, like we already talked about with the Capcom Cup how it was best out of 3, and there was a lot of controversy. Like a lot of people voiced their opinion on that. They were well aware of that feedback, by the way. Like Capcom knows for sure that people didn't like that, so I'm sure next year is gonna be different. But we wanted like first to 3, didn't we? Is that what we said?
At least first to 3
yeah.
for a certain part, and then like grand final should have been at least first to 5.
Yeah, man. GF wasn't like oh. But yeah, this time in this tournament it's gonna be first to 7. Like, damn, man, there's gonna be some long sets.
First to 7, counterpicking is okay. No, right at the moment, there's no stipulations in the rules. Like with the Panga, you had a stipulation to the rule for switching characters. I think you're only allowed 1 additional character, and you can only switch after 3 games or something like that.
Really? They actually made a rule for that?
They actually had a specific rule for counterpicking, but right now with Master Series, there's no stipulations on counterpicking.
Well, looking at the names of some of these people in the tournament, I don't think much of these guys are going to be switching characters anyways.
Pretty much.
To be honest.
The only major one would be Zen. That's the only one I could see.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything you want to talk about the tournament itself? Before we get into the players here?
Not really. We already covered the format. And
so, once again, just to summarize, guys, it's this weekend, Friday to Sunday, January 9th to 11th. And the pay-per-view event on Saturday and Sunday, so you have to pay $14.95 to watch those days.
It'll cover the $14.95 will cover both days.
Yeah, I'll cover both days. And on Friday it's free, and those will be the qualifiers to determine the 8th player in the tournament. Basically.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we go through every player in crazy depth, this video is gonna be hours long. So any characters that we have covered before for Capcom Cup, we'll just briefly talk over, and then any players that aren't in there, anyone new, we should talk about. So let's start with we'll just go by the website.
So well, let's go over who the previous champions were. So 2010, that's the first Canada Cup tournament. DAIGO was the winner.
Was that against
Mago?
Mago, right?
That was the first. Yes, and this is the first time Mago traveled overseas for SF4. That was the first time we saw Mago actually travel to a international tournament.
Yeah, we were being creepers, man, like recording his hands when he was playing in the money matches.
Yeah, it was pretty
hilarious. I was
hilarious.
bugging Mago a lot that day.
Yeah, because no one's seen Mago travel since for SF4 anyways. I think the last time he traveled was maybe like CDS2 at EVO, and that was probably the last time we saw Mago internationally.
And I was so pissed off because he doesn't play like Sagat anymore at that time, because that's when
he
used to switch to Fei Long. So every time I saw Mago, you know, I look at him and I just do the tiger uppercut every time. Just like, you know, just so he knows that I remember, right?
Yeah.
But too bad Mago's not here. It's just not. So you want to talk about DAIGO real quick?
Yeah, we covered DAIGO to a certain extent at Capcom during our Capcom Cup series there.
How do you think he's gonna do
there's so many things you can talk about DAIGO, but yeah, I think at least in this format, this greatly favors DAIGO. Like DAIGO is kind of known for how well he does in long sets, in really long sets. So this hopefully, like after all those disappointing performances, especially at
disappointing,
this hopefully like he does something like a really strong showing at Master Series.
It's just overhype overflow, man. For DAIGO. We'll see how he does long sets against a Dalsum.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. I know DAIGO has been like just going over that Dalsum match like crazy.
I really hope he's doing.
I hope we see some adjustments for sure. And Yeah, DAIGO will obviously be one of the favorites for the tournament, but we'll go over our predictions later.
Yeah.
Second up, Canada Cup 2011 champion KAZUNOKO. Were we at this Canada Cup?
Yes. Yeah, so KAZUNOKO won, and he beat Leslie in grand finals.
Oh my god.
This is probably,
So good.
I think 2011 was by far my favorite Super Street Fighter this is Arcade Edition, sorry, Arcade Edition tournament. Just the number of notable players and the quality of matches we got that year, it was by far probably the best SF4 tournament to date, I think. Like, that was such a memorable tournament in terms of quality of matches.
You sure not being biased because you're Canadian? I was in Canada.
No, because we never really get to see that concentration of top. Like, EVO is usually like, yeah, you have that concentration of players, but because there's so many players at EVO, a lot get overshadowed and a lot get eliminated early. But within Canada Cup, that year is like the concentration of top level talent was right there, and they ended up playing each other like fairly early on. Well, with the seeding and stuff like that, most of them got into top 32, 64, something like that, and then from there was like total free for all, which was really entertaining.
So back to KAZUNOKO. Do you know anything about KAZUNOKO before he started playing Yun?
Yes. So for people who have no idea who KAZUNOKO is, beforehand, this guy was a godlike Guilty Gear player.
He played Guilty Gear?
Yes, he was the best, or at least one of the best, Holy Order Soul players.
Holy Order? What do you mean Holy Order? What are you talking
about? So
about?
there's two different. As soon as Guilty Gear Slash came out, they introduced Holy Order Soul, and he played completely different from regular Soul. And I don't want to go into the details.
Were they both in the game?
Yeah, they were both in the game.
Did he have Ice Car?
No.
Wow.
He had a move called Gun Blaze, and what he does is he actually like slides through the opponent and then leaves like a spike of fire, and it kind of, depending on how you time it, it actually crosses over.
I gotta check this out later.
Yeah, some cool mix-ups and stuff like that from there.
So
but
KAZUNOKO,
yeah, and also like back then, he didn't go by the name KAZUNOKO. He actually went by the name Inoue.
Inoue?
Inoue, yes. So he still goes by the name when he plays anime fighters. He still goes by Inoue, but he'll like go / KAZUNOKO. So for people who see like Inoue for Guilty Gear, just keep in mind that's KAZUNOKO.
Oh, interesting.
So, but this, oh my god, his Holy Order Soul is amazing. Go watch up videos of his Holy Order Soul.
I will after this podcast. We will do that.
I'm actually looking forward. I hope he really enters the Guilty Gear tournament at After Series. Yeah. So I'd love to see his play, but I don't think he plays it. Like it's not. I don't think it's his main game, but he's still a really talented player in like Air Dashers. So I'd love to see him enter and play that.
So KAZUNOKO plays Yun, and he's been playing Yun since Yun's been crazy in AE. Or no.
Yeah, AE.
Yeah, AE.
Been using Yun. Yeah, basically he started playing Street Fighter 4 with Arcade Edition, and then he's been using Yun since the very beginning.
And then Yun got nerfed to the ground.
Yeah.
And then he continued playing Yun.
Yeah.
And now Yun is very, very good now. Some people might even say he's the best in the game, even though he hasn't won any majors recently, right?
Well, he hasn't won any majors.
You know, it's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean that Yun is not a good character, as people say. As Yun is a very good character, and KAZUNOKO is the best in the business with him.
Yep.
So he was up there with DAIGO on the BP rankings.
I think he was second in the BP rankings.
Yeah. So KAZUNOKO, I really like his playstyle. He's super hyper aggressive, and he's like when he wakes up with Yun, like after he gets knocked down, he does like wake up like crouching light punch. He's crazy, man. No fear.
Wake up DP, wake up light punch, wake up something. He just does not care. But if you ever watch him play Guilty Gear, you understand why he does these things.
Okay.
Like the way he plays Yun is like very similar to the way he played Guilty Gear, like just very hyper aggressive. So,
anything else you want to talk about KAZUNOKO? he's definitely a favorite to win the tournament. By the way,
yes.
Okay, that's how good he is, guys. If you don't know,
well, I think he's
there.
being actually underlooked by some people. I think some people are underestimating Kazunoko, which you can't. This guy is just.
I think he has just as high a chance as DAIGO does of winning.
I for sure believe that he has just as an equal chance at winning.
Yeah, he's crazy. I wish he was at Capcom Cup, man. That would have been awesome.
That would have been really cool.
Yeah. So, moving on?
Yeah, moving on to Canada Cup 2012, and I believe the winner was XIAN versus, and he beat Mago to win that. So Mago
second place.
Mago, I was actually pretty heartbroken that Mago lost because like Mago traveled to so many tournaments and he was always so close, but he just couldn't win. And we're like, maybe this is the time that Mago can win. And that match was so close too. It was just like, oh man, that was a really good match. But yeah, Zen clutched it out, and I remember after Zen won, Z just like got up because Z was commentating at the time. And he
yeah.
He just tackled Zen.
Yeah, right on the stage. I remember that. That was pretty funny.
That year was the birth of Infiltration and his freaking iPhone notes.
Oh, I know. It was the birth, eh?
Yep.
You sure he just wasn't just taking selfies or something? Well, XIAN, wow. The question is he going to be counter-picking the hell out of people now?
I think he's going to be counter-picking the hell. Because in a recent interview at Event Hubs, he said that XIAN is very boring to play for him. Like, he's just a really boring character now. Just with all the changes, all the nerfs that he got, all the system changes, like, he's just very boring. So I think he's just messing around with other characters because he's kind of bored with the game, I guess, to a certain extent. So yeah, I wonder if he'll have a new character for this. Because right now I know he plays, obviously he plays XIAN, plays Poison, which we saw at Capcom Cup, and that surprise Dalsum counter pick. But like I mentioned in our Capcom Cup series, Dalsum was his original main in vanilla SF4. I know on stream he did some messing around with the Capre. The Capre got a lot of buffs in patch 1.04, so I wonder if he'll have a pocket the Capre for Master Series. I'd love to see that, to be honest.
Yeah, I really wonder who he's going to use. XIAN was just so prepared during Capcom Cup, and I underestimated his performance. So, we
all went under the assumption that he'd stick to XIAN or Poison, and neither character was particularly strong in Ultra SF4, so we're like, I don't know about his chances. And based on where he was in the bracket, that early matchup against DAIGO, we're like, man, if he chooses XIAN after losing to DAIGO convincingly at CPT Asia Finals, it's like there's no way he's going to get that far. But then he pulled out that surprise Dalsum counter pick, and it was like, ooh.
Yeah, man, I was so excited when I saw that. But you think he'll use Dalsum for sure against DAIGO, hey?
For sure, absolutely.
And I'm pretty sure his Dalsum will be even more like prepared this time.
Yeah.
So, because he knows it works, right? So he's gonna put more effort into it. So moving on to QANBA XIAOHAI.
Yeah, the winner of Canada Cup 2013. I think he ended up beating Von Chan to win that year.
And he was using Cammy?
Yes. So XIAOHAI, very, very interesting player. So XIAOHAI is from China. And back in the day, this is the King of Fighters god. Like, undisputed King of Fighters god of all.
How do you know this shit, man?
Like King of Fighters 98, this man was like, and to this day, he's still a god at that game. But like, there are videos of XIAOHAI when he was like maybe 14 years old or something like that, beasting on people in King of Fighters 98, one-handed. One-handed. He plays
what?
Like,
what are you talking about?
He can play King of Fighters 98 one-handed.
What? And
he'd still beast on people. In fact, I forget which Evo. I think it was like maybe 2012, 2013. The Mexican players were all money matching XIAOHAI at King of Fighters 98 one-handed, and like XIAOHAI beasted on everyone.
Oh my god!
Like, and this is why it was like he's amazing at 98. He's amazing at 2002. I think he won some big Chinese tournament for 2002, and then like when it came to KOF 13, he was kind of, his performance was pretty solid, but it wasn't like amazing. And then the 2013 at Evo, he won King of Fighters 13. So we're like, it's the return of the king.
Ah,
it's like the god has returned.
Man, so I guess that makes sense that why he plays Cammy then, because Cammy that's definitely his style, you know.
The thing that's so interesting with the way he plays Cammy is he plays Cammy like he plays King of Fighters. Right? He uses the her standing jab to preemptively anti-air people, and like in King of Fighters, if you're not familiar with the game, there's like short jumps in that game, and to try to anti-air short jumps with a DP on reaction is pretty tough. But they develop techniques where you use like your fastest standing normal, in this case stand A, to anti-air it either on reaction or preemptively. So like King of Fighters, there's a lot of preemptive space control if you're normals, and the way he plays Cammy is very similar to that.
Interesting.
So like you can tell like part of his style in King of Fighters has transferred over to SF4.
I'm glad there is a Cammy in this tournament. I was sick of Cammy before, but now I want Cammy to come back. So I want to.
She's got a couple other characters too. I know he has a Pocket Evil Ryu, so I don't know.
No more Evil Ryu. No.
So I'm not sure who he's going to be using for Master Series, and we haven't really seen him play recently at tournaments, or we haven't seen his play all that often. And the other thing with XIAOHAI is that barely anybody in China like play SF4. Most of them continue to play King of Fighters. And his main training partner is DAIGO, and so like he doesn't get to compete with top level talent in SF4, and YouTube is blocked in China, so he doesn't really get to watch that many match videos to study or anything like that. So all his training that he does is strictly with his training partner, DAIGO, both of them sponsored by KANBA. So it's really impressive how far he's gotten in SF4, considering all the limitations he has.
He's obviously a very talented player to be that good at King of Fighters, and I'm sure that's what's helping him get the extra edge on catching up with everybody else.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I didn't know that. Moving on.
So Canada Cup 2014, the winner was PEPEDAY, and that was against Punko in that crazy grand finals.
That was insane.
Just, oh man, balls.
Definitely one of the best matches of the year.
For sure. It was just not crazy offense, crazy, just absolutely non-stop action in that grand finals.
I passed out like in the hotel watching it. You know, I was there at Canada Cup 2014, and I was sitting with you guys and we were watching, and I was so tired. I went up to the hotel and I watched the rest of the match on my laptop in my hotel suite during the tournament. So it was a really nice hotel, by the way. So it was very comfortable. But anyways, PEPEDAY. Damn, he's become so popular in such a short amount of time.
Well, RCAP also helping him out to travel to these events was pretty big for him. I mean, that little bit of exposure at Taito Nationals, that Tokyo Game Show, and then it just blew up into that. I don't think in his like he'd ever thought that something like that would happen. So really good for him to see him like capitalize on this opportunity.
So he uses El Fuerte, and he'll be using him exclusively, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And people love him because he's really entertaining to watch. He's also a very energetic guy too. His personality. Yeah, man. This. I don't know how well El Fuerte is gonna do in launch sets.
Yeah, it gives more people time to like figure out his play style. So, like, the thing with El Fuerte in shorter sets is that because he's such a setup-based character and some people would say random character, there's a higher level of variance that happens in shorter sets. So, El Fuertes can usually squeak out wins because of this. And then in a longer set, though, you give the opponent much more time to figure out player tendencies as well as the quirkiness of the characters. So in a longer set, he's at a disadvantage, in my opinion.
I wouldn't consider Alfuerte a gimmicky character, but he's all about making really good reads.
It's just a constant rock, paper, scissors game between both you and the opponent. So there's no like one particular setup that he's going to be doing. He has to continuously make adjustments and make different reads, different calls during his mix-up game. And that's where the variance kind of kicks in.
Anything else you want to talk about, Pepe?
Nope, not really.
Alright, moving on to Snake Eyes.
Yes, so
is he a guest?
He's a guest because he had won that season of Wednesday Night Fights.
Okay.
So that's why he qualified, I guess, for I don't know if it would be a qualifier, but that's why he's in Master Series. So
oh my god, dude! I just realized Snake Eyes versus 7 in a round robin tournament.
That's gonna be.
That means Saturday is just gonna be Snake Eyes matches, and then they're gonna play the rest of the matches on Sunday. No, oh my god, dude.
Well, I don't know. This is post patch 1.04.
We'll talk about that later, though.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how well he's gonna do this time around. We'll see. Geef did get some significant nerfs this patch, so
he's gonna make up for his Capcom Cup performance, man. Especially
he better, he really wants to. You can tell he was pretty disappointed after Capcom Cup.
Oh, of course.
He was really hungry to improve even further, but his footsie game with Geef is so on point. But man, you're talking about the best of the best in that department too. Like you got DAIGO, you got Luffy, you got all these other players who have strong footsie games as well. So it'd be really interesting. Plus, we never got to see Snake Eyes play against some of these players. So
I love watching him play. So I hope he does really well.
Even though Geef is can be considered a boring type of character just because of his slower playstyle, the way Snake Eyes plays him is so explosive, so patient. Like it's so entertaining to watch at a fundamental level.
Yeah, if you really appreciate it, yeah.
So, and I'm sure everyone wants to see certain runbacks. Like definitely that runback against Luffy would be really entertaining in a first 7, but also that's going to be really long.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long set, man. Okay, and we don't know who the 8th player is gonna be because of the qualifier.
Remember, Luffy. I don't think we mentioned Luffy.
Yeah.
Luffy is a special invite because he is the EVO 2014 champion. So that's really interesting. And there were a lot of matches at Capcom Cup that we wanted to see with Luffy that we didn't get to see. So now, since 4 of the competitors at Master Series were at Capcom Cup, we'll get to see some of those matchups.
Yeah, for sure. Luffy definitely, he wanted to win Capcom Cup bad, man.
Yes.
Like, if he would have won it, that would have been undisputable. He would have been the best player in the world, you know what I mean? No questions asked. And this is like his second chance to get that again, you know? Mm-hmm. I think Luffy plays very well in long sets because he does a lot of crazy money matches. So,
he does frequent long sets against top players. Like he doesn't back down from any sort of challenge. So this format does benefit him as well, especially with Rose. Like Rose being a slower character in terms of like her play style, so it gives him time to adapt to more of the aggressive characters.
Mm-hmm. So you want to talk about the 8th guest and who potentially can be?
So yes, the 8th guest. I'm not sure of all the players who will be attending, or at least all the notable players that will be attending for that qualifier spot. I do know that Air, NGL Chris, and PR Rog will be attending.
But anyone can walk into those doors, right?
Anyone can walk into those doors and enter.
Okay. But like, are we just assuming here it's going to be between Air, Pure Balrog, and
GL Chris? If those are the only notable players, then yes. Air had an amazing performance at Canada Cup 2014, getting 3rd place. He had a really amazing poison at that time, so we'd like to see how he's developed or further developed his poison play since then. He has a pretty good shot at it, because considering NGL Chris being a Ken player, I believe, and Purorog with Balrog, I think poison pairs well against those characters, so it'll be interesting to see how far he goes, whether he qualifies or not. NGL Chris is more notable. Like I said, I believe he's a Ken player. I tend to get him and Chris King confused quite a bit. One being a Vega player and the other being Ken. So yeah, I don't follow him as much, so I'm not sure how well he'll do or how far he's come. And then finally, PR Rog. Amazing performance at Capcom Cup.
Yes.
Probably might have gone farther had he remembered to macro his 3-punch.
I'm sure he'll remember from now on.
So yeah, I mean, he has probably the highest chance at qualifying for the 8th spot, and I think that would be a really good fit.
It would,
because Balrog has I think Balrog's capable of handling some of those matchups.
He's a wildcard character, man.
Yeah.
He's got like so many bad matchups, but he's got good ones too, you know, like.
And especially against some of the top tier, what people consider characters.
That's the strange part about that character, for sure. And he's the best in the business with him.
Like let's talk about some of that matchup with Balrog, like against Kazunoko's Yun, for example. Yun doesn't really fare well against. No, I wouldn't say wouldn't fare well, but I think that it's not as favorable of a matchup. It's not one-sided with Yun. Like Balrog just has that space control to handle Yun. But again, Kazunoko being best in the business with him, I'm not sure, and I don't know how much experience Purorog has against Kazunoko or Yun in general.
But what about vice versa, though, man? Like Kazunoko is gonna have much match experience against Balrog.
Yeah, he's not gonna have like at Purorog's level. Like I don't think he has that matchup experience. Like barely anybody in Japan uses Balrog, and especially at that kind of level. So I think he's at a significant disadvantage.
What about against
just
Kami?
from a matchup knowledge? Sorry.
What about against Kami? Doesn't Kami have problems?
Kami has problems, but Kami definitely has problems opening up Balrog, especially with the Ultra changes. And then we saw what happened to DAIGO Evil Ryu versus Balrog. That didn't work out very well.
No, it did not.
And Gen also had problems versus Balrog, I believe. So I mean, considering who's at Master Series and what characters they're using, I think Purorog has a decent shot at creating, or not necessarily a decent shot, but he has a good shot at creating a lot of upsets, or a lot of at least changing the dynamic of the matchup.
Assuming he wins the qualifier.
Yeah, assuming he wins the qualifier. It has a good shot at like showing people like a different look at certain matchups for Balrog.
Yeah. Damn, you know what? I should have asked Kenny if he was going to use... Air, sorry. If he was going to use Ryu with the Ryu changes to Ultra. Or he's going to use Poison, but I should have asked him.
I think he's probably going to stick to Poison. I think at this point Poison is a much stronger character than Ryu. And the only two major changes Ryu got was the Fireball changes, which are pretty significant from a zoning game perspective, as well as I think his close stand roundhouse got some buffs too.
Oh, I love that change. I love it. Yeah, that close roundhouse change is so good. Okay, so let's talk about... So one thing I don't see too many people talking about is how the patch changes, the recent patch change, 1.04 was it?
Yes, 1.04.
Is going to affect some of these players. Because this will be the first big tournament after that patch, right?
Yes.
So, what are the most notable ones that are going to affect I guess we'll start with Daigo with Evil Ryu, right?
So yes, so Evil Ryu, his life got nerfed. So it is now 900 instead of 950. And that gives a lot less wiggle room to play around with in certain matchups. Like that, I think that's going to be a significant impact in the Dhalsim matchup.
That's a huge difference, man.
Having 50 less life, that is definitely
it's big, man.
Like definitely less room for error during those matchups. He's got to be a lot more precise now and can't afford to use life as a way to like get in on some characters. So that's going to really impact some of those matchups. And
yeah,
I think mostly in particular to Dhalsim.
The thing is, you gotta sacrifice your life to gain information in this game. And Daigo, like, you know, there's a lot of trading that happens, and those are gonna just hurt Evil Ryu so much harder every single trade now. So I think that does affect Evil Ryu a lot. But you know, Daigo's super good. But we're gonna notice the difference, man, just from that life change alone.
Yeah.
He's definitely gonna need that momentum. Really,
for sure.
Really.
So then moving on to Kazunoko's Yun. Yun had some nerfs in patch 1.04. There's two most notable ones. The first one is being that his EX lunge punch is now -1 on block instead of +1.
That's huge.
It's huge because now it's not a free get in and free offensive pressure. So has to be a lot more careful with his approaches.
That means Zangief gets a free pile driver, doesn't he?
Yes.
That's big.
Should be, at least. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that's a free SPD for Geef. So you definitely can't just use it as a get-in tool.
Like, the thing is like, Yun, he'll do EX Lung Punch on you before, and he was +1. So that basically means that if Kazunoko mashes Crouching Light Punch, and the opponent presses anything, including his Crouching Light Punch, Kazunoko's gonna win every time. And when the opponent knows that if he presses a button, if he loses that guess, he's gonna eat like a fat combo. But then Yun can just do his command grab, and that's that crazy mix-up game. And then now he kind of loses that because now he's -1. Now he can't just mash Light Punch because now Yun will lose in that in that situation. So that hurt Yun because Yun needs to get in, and EX Lung Punch was like kind of like a fail-safe way to get in. And now he kind of lost that, I guess. He'll still be using it, though.
For good reason. Like, that was just...
What?
The X Lunge Punch being +1 on block, that was insane.
Dude, it used to be crazier, though. It used to be even crazier than that, I think.
It was always +1. In Arcade Edition, it was +1.
But couldn't you combo something after it, or something more hardcore than it was before?
Like it? I can't remember. Maybe another Lunge Punch or something like that.
What other changes was there? Lunge Punch, what else?
Light Shoulder is now 100 stun instead of 200 stun, and the meter gain is reduced. So when he whiffed it, he used to get 30 meter. Now it's down to 20. On hit, he would gain 60 meter. That's been cut down in half, so he only gains 30 meter on hit. And then on block, it used to be 30. Now he only gains 15 on block. So that's pretty significant meter reduction from shoulder, and a lot of like Kazunoko's block strings and combos ended in shoulder. So he's going to be, and the stun nerf as well. So he's going to be losing out on a lot of meter gain that he would use for red focus cancels. And like the comeback factor of Yun with red focus was insane. So
that is what makes Yun so strong in Ultra right now, is the red focus addition to his arsenal, and hurting that light shoulder meter is going to affect that, because he, like you said, the comeback factor, and he just won't get as much out of it. So that's pretty big. Even
the stun nerf is pretty significant.
200 stun that thing used to do?
Yeah, I can't believe that. I didn't know.
That's insane, dude.
So 100 less stun, and like, which is kind of makes sense now because Yun would stun people so often. So yeah, like that stun nerf is
as he should, though.
Yeah,
an aggressive character like that, as he should.
So that stun nerf is I wouldn't say like super significant, but it does play a factor. So those are some nerfs that are definitely going to be affecting Kazunoko, and we'll probably see it primarily in the red focus I don't think you'll be able to combo into red focus as frequently now because he might not have the meter in time.
What other changes we got here that will affect some players?
So moving on to our 2013 champ, which was Zen. Gen got some buffs. Primarily, his Mantis super, is now doing 300 damage again, which was nerfed in Ultra's release to 250. So now that whole super into Ultra is back at full strength.
So he'll be doing his old school combo now?
Yes.
Or what? Yeah.
But some of the nerfs that Gen got was that his crouching strong is got a buff. Actually, oh, it wasn't a nerf, it was buff. It does 70 damage instead of 60.
Okay.
And I think Gen, his hands, the recovery has been reduced by 1 frame, so it's 17 frame recovery instead of 18.
Okay.
His Ultra 2 with the Mantis Ultra 2. There's 2 things I want to mention. First of all, it now does full animation on airborne opponents, which is, I guess, not that huge. I guess you can do it off of juggles, off a certain juggle state, so that might be good. But I don't think we're going to be seeing this Ultra anymore, because remember that big glitch that we talked about?
Yeah, Combo Fiend, you must have heard us, man.
Yes, I like to take personal responsibility for that.
Yeah, it's safe to assume that it was changed because you mentioned it. Yeah, that's the most reasonable thing.
So, in case people didn't watch that video, when Gen did Ultra 2, Mantis Ultra 2, as a reversal, it actually carried the properties of it when it was jump cancelled, which means on block it was +5 instead of being...
It's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in this game.
So they removed that bug, or they fixed that bug, so it's no longer +5 when it's used as a reversal on block.
I'm gonna save that clip though, man, when he does it to DAIGO and DAIGO blocks it, and then DAIGO's walking forward to punish it when he gets hit. It's so golden, man. You know, DAIGO's probably just like, what?
What?
So stupid.
DAIGO found counters right away, though. Like, after that match, okay, what the heck's up with this Ultra? How do I counter it? And then in Grand Finals, he's like, okay, you're going to do Wake Up Ultra? As soon as he sees the Ultra, I'm going to do my Ultra. And then his heart counters it.
So dumb. I just like how he does it just because there's no risk to it at all. It's just so stupid. Any other changes?
Nope, that's the only changes for Gen.
Okay. Any other notable ones?
So that was 2013. 2014 was XIAOHAI, which would be Kami.
Are you reading the right thing? For me, it says Shin 2012, and XIAOHAI for me is 2013.
Oh yeah. Sorry, 2014 would be PEPEDAY. So Kami didn't really get much. I don't think there was any major changes with Kami.
Are you looking at the notes right now?
Yeah, I'm looking at the notes. So yeah, there's just a bug fix on delayed wake up off of medium kick spin drive smasher, so that's nothing. So that's not really going to affect him. If he uses Evo Ryu, he's going to have to deal with that life nerf. I don't know what other characters that he uses, so that doesn't really affect XIAOHAI much. Besides the Ultra changes in general, which it seemed to impact him at Evo. And after that would be El Fuerte for PEPEDAY. Guacamole leg throw is just a bug fix about where you couldn't delay your wake up, which I guess would be kind of an impactful thing on his wake up game. Now that you can delay wake up Guacamole.
I don't know anything about El Fuerte, man, so everything you're saying makes no sense.
So I guess that's 2 special guests. Rose, she only gets 3 extra damage off of Chip for EX Soul Spiral, not a big thing. But Snake Eyes...
wait, did they nerf the amount of meter that she gets when she throws a fireball?
No, the only thing I have in the patch notes was that X Soul Spiral does 33 Chip instead of 30.
Seriously? That's all they changed?
Yeah.
Wow, man.
So he got off light.
Yeah, man. Seriously, with the amount of people bitching?
I would have fully expected the back.
She didn't even get her backdash nerfed?
Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't get her backdash nerfed. But no, that's it. She didn't get nerfed.
I'm surprised, man.
I am surprised, but that's good for Luffy. I think he lucked out.
Oh, hell yeah. He's probably got a Grinch smile from that.
But Snake Eyes, man.
Oh, poor Snake. What bad timing, too, man.
Yeah, man. Geef. Okay, so the Geef nerfs or EX Green Hand. No, sorry. Light Green Hand. The travel distance is reduced, and there's more pushback on hit. So,
oh my god.
I don't like. It says that, but you guys, if you haven't seen how far Green Hand travels now, it's like it's nowhere. It like goes
bad.
Before it goes so far and it was so fast, like it was punishing punishing sweeps from like Shotos. It was just such an amazing.
Let's be fair though, it was crazy good.
It was way too.
It was crazy good.
Way too good. Way too.
It was crazy good.
Like the way Geef should be, how Geef should be played is that he should have to work to get in. He's dangerous. Geef with that jab Green Hand, it's like the amount of work he had to do to get in was reduced.
Yeah.
But
Senki's such a hard character to balance, man. Grapplers in general,
are really hard to balance.
Yeah, man. You either make them too crazy, right, or it's tough, man.
Like grapplers usually tend to do well at the beginning of a fighting game's life cycle because nobody knows their combos. They don't know how to optimize the damage output, and grapplers didn't really need to worry about that because they had a command grab that did all the damage for them, and that was their gameplay. So they always did really well at the beginning, but as the game progresses, they usually end up as like low-tier characters because everyone's figured out the game engine, the game mechanics, their own characters, so they found ways to maximize their damage output as well as like certain dealing with matchups like the grappler matchup and how they deal with them. So usually grapplers drop off by then. But Geef, in most cases, he usually remained top tier even after people figured it out. Like Vanilla, he was a beast. Super, he was still good. Arcade Edition is when he dropped off there, and then he became a beast again in Ultra. So that light green hand nerf is definitely warranted, but it hurts Snake Eyes quite a. I think it would hurt Snake Eyes quite a bit. But Snake Eyes being Snake Eyes, I'm sure he'll adapt. The other thing about patch 1.04 for Geef is that EX Greenhound now forces a stand on hit, which is pretty significant because if people don't know, EX Greenhound, when it hits a crouching character and you cancel into red focus or even a focus, the focus whiffs on crouching characters.
That's stupid.
So now with EX Greenhand forcing a stand on hit, he can go red focus, and that is now guaranteed to hit. And
that's
so
good.
He has that. Now he has a good comeback factor when he hits that. So if he gets hit by Greenhand, he's got another 3 meters, EX red focus, dash in, Ultra 1, and like there goes all your life. So that's a pretty good comeback factor for Geef now.
Yeah.
Guaranteed comeback factor.
You know, it's interesting how you were talking about grappling characters and stuff. You know, grappling characters, a lot of people think they're like, it's like a newbie character. You know, really like easy character to use, but it's funny in high-end play, they're considered very, you know, complicated characters to learn and play.
Just at a high level because you have to find ways to get in, and like
yeah, it's like the opposite.
Top level players, it is hard to get in because like against zoning characters, how is a grappler supposed to get in? They always struggle against zoning characters. I think the most notable example of this is BlazBlue Chrono Phantasm, or not Chrono Phantasm, Calamity Trigger, and we saw New, which is a high zoning character, like her whole entire game plan is keeping you out, versus Tager, who was the grappler of that game. And there's a match, I think it was Galileo, who uses Tager, and if we all remember Galileo, he was the Evo champ for BlazBlue Chrono Phantasm at 2014 using Lychee, versus, I forget who the new player was, but it literally was like 99 seconds of Galileo instant blocking on the other side of the screen.
One of the best matches of the year, I might say.
Like, it was just literally just the poor man was in the air and he's instant blocking. Instant blocking is not that easy in that game. It's a lot harder than in Guilty Gear.
He's doing what he could.
He's just doing whatever he could. It's in that course, instant blocking all these swords from full screen. He just couldn't get in.
That's hilarious, man. I love that match, by the way. I still watch that match to this day. It's just really funny.
It's just so hilarious. The shining example of how not to develop your zoning character and grappler character.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to talk about in the tournament?
Besides our predictions?
Oh, let's talk about predictions.
Okay.
We didn't have much time to think about that though. I guess let's just start off right off the bat by saying I think our two favorites is DAIGO and KAZUNOKO, right? We're on the same page there?
I think Zen would also be considered a favorite. Just because of his ability to counterpick.
So top 3, DAIGO, KAZUNOKO, XIAN? The top 3?
Yes.
Not in that specific order?
Yeah.
Who do you want to win? I want KAZUNOKO.
I would like to see KAZUNOKO win.
We're both going to agree with KAZUNOKO wanting to win?
Daigo's let me down too many times. I would be happy if he wins.
Daigo's let you down.
I think KAZUNOKO, I'd like to see KAZUNOKO this time around.
I want to see DAIGO pick Yun, man.
There was like some...
I want him to face his demons.
Yeah, a Christmas special of some sort where he's just playing a bunch of fans live. And there was a moment where he had to pick Yun, and he could still competently use Yun.
He just exposed himself, man, when he played Yun. You saw he played him really well.
Like, you could tell he was a little bit rusty.
He was a little bit rusty, but come on.
Come on, man. Like, he could still use Yun proficient, fairly proficient.
Sure.
He knew the red focus combo. I mean, granted that red focus combo is brain dead easy to do, but he's like...
I'm telling you, man, he exposed himself. He must have been practicing with Yun. Like, he must have been, like, warming up just a little, you know, just in case. Because, like, he doesn't have to play at 100% to beat Dalsum.
No.
That's how bad that matchup is.
Yep.
He doesn't have to play 100%, man. And DAIGO was one of the best Yuns in the business during that time.
The only thing, though, is with 1st to 7, is that as soon as he beats Xian's Dalsum with Yun, and there's no real stipulations on counterpicking, he could easily just switch to Poison or Gen, and then that matchup is different. And then it means like
that is
back
true.
to you. So you're gonna have this like constant back and forth. It's like, okay, I'm gonna pick, and it's gonna be like a war, possibly a war of attrition. It's like I picked Dalsum. Okay, I'm gonna pick Yun, beats Dalsum. I'm gonna switch to Gen, beats Yun. I'm gonna switch to Evil Yu, beats whatever. I'm gonna switch to Dalsum, and then we end up in this vicious cycle.
I would be more entertained by that though than just seeing history repeat itself. You know what I mean?
not saying it wouldn't be entertaining, but I'm just saying like you're gonna get some stupidity with that.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a long night for sure.
But DAIGO being DAIGO and being a stubborn beast that he is, I'm pretty sure he's not going to counterpick and that he will just stick solely to Evil Yu for that match.
He's always the favorite in every tournament and he gets destroyed every time randomly. I love it, man. I love it. I love it. I love the excuses people make for him. It's so good, dude.
Can't make excuses, man. He doesn't make excuses for himself, so nobody else should.
Yeah. He just gets everyone else to do it for him, you know. It's so perfect, man. But he's still the favorite. As much as I like to harass DAIGO.
Just because like 1st to 7 format favors him the most because of his previous performances in 1st to long sets in general, and being the current winner of Topanga A League.
Yeah.
Even that interview, there was like that interview with Sako, and he's like, there was a moment in that match where I felt I could never beat DAIGO. And it's like, he's like, he's surpassed me with my own character. And he's like, what would happen if you used Evil Ryu against him? It's like, I might be able to get a few wins, but he would beat me in the end. It's just like, he's just too good.
It just makes me roll my eyes so bad, man. Anyways, this is so stupid, dude. KAZUNOKO, I want him to win, man. I love watching his young play.
I think there's a couple things that he's gonna have a tough time with. Like Snake Eyes, the Geef matchup has never been like great for Yun to begin with. Yun has to play very differently in that matchup. He can't play Rushdown, so he has to play more control.
And that EX Lung Punch, man, it hurts him bad.
Yeah, it hurts him too. The meter gain nerf, all that stuff. Like all that's gonna affect that matchup. So it's quite possible he's gonna lose the Snake Eyes. I don't know whether he can beat Luffy or not. You think that would be a favorable matchup. The one person that dodged Luffy that entire tournament at EVO 2014 was KAZUNOKO. and DAIGO.
Yeah.
So that's another match.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see that match.
DAIGO versus Luffy? Oh yeah. I think that's probably the most anticipated match at Master Series.
I think Luffy's gonna do really well in this tournament too.
I think he's going to do amazingly well.
Luffy's gonna do good, man.
Long sets also favor. I think it favors Rose to a certain extent.
We haven't talked much about PEPEDAY, man. Like
I said, like he's probably the biggest wild card for sure.
Yeah, he's the wild card, man, for sure. And he's gonna do really well too. You don't think he's gonna win, do you?
No, I don't think he's going to do well in general because I think first 7 doesn't favor El Fuerte as a character. Not PEPEDAY as a player, but El Fuerte as a character. But it all depends on how PEPEDAY adapts and how the opponent adapts to that, and we'll see how that goes. It's just El Fuerte is such a wild card character; it's very hard to predict.
So, what's our predictions again?
So,
first, second, third?
we're saying KAZUNOKO, DAIGO, XIAN. But no particular order, those three.
No particular order, okay. That's good. That gives us some leeway, right?
Yeah.
Gives us some leeway. Let us know, guys, what your predictions are this weekend for the top 3. And I think some people are going to agree with us for KAZUNOKO and DAIGO for sure. I think those are 2 easy picks.
I think people are going to also favor Luffy top 3 for sure, and that's a perfectly valid reason.
It is.
Like, I think this format also really benefits Luffy.
It is, man. Anything else you want to talk about, man?
Nope, I think that's about it.
Yeah, thanks a lot for listening, guys. This was, I guess, more of a podcast, hey?
Pretty much.
I'll name the title of podcast this time, because that's pretty much what it is, man. A little bit more casual this time. I don't know how long we were recording for, but I'm really excited for this tournament, guys, and this is a good, like, I guess, throwback to just, like, a really long set tournament. So, I'm pretty excited for this. So, anyways, guys, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys later.